Different issue. What would you say the role of the federal government is versus state government versus local government, county or city or township, in regulating business and regulating commerce?
The role of the government in regulating at the local levels. I think the federal level should be administered. Interstate commerce, international commerce, there ought to be some regulation. Patent issues, of course, the Supreme Court clearly comes in there. Defending our waters, defending our airspace. But beyond that, I think it goes back to the states determining how best to regulate commerce within their state and with other states. Now, in the area of healthcare, for instance, I think there is a place for reform and saying there cannot be prohibition for interstate commerce with health insurance. For personal reasons, because of heavy lobbying or whatever, you get an insurance company that says we don't want the competition from the other states. Because of the impact of healthcare across the board, I think there is a place for the federal government. We're very limited. Environmental regulations, to some degree, but when you have the feds coming in wanting to tell us how to manage our Great Lakes, and in fact, Great Lakes states can do that very well, thank you themselves, and right now the feds want to help us with the Asian carp. When the states are willing to do it.
What about education?
I see no place for the federal government in education, except to make sure that there's no inhibitors that come to it. The state's constitution does give requirement for states to be involved in encouraging schools and education. The U.S. Constitution has nothing to say about that, except the general welfare. And I was an opponent of No Child Left Behind. Congressman Pete Buxter and I introduced legislation last term that would have given the states the opportunity to opt out of No Child Left Behind as long as we could show that we had an alternative means. And I think that's where it ought to be. And I would go even further saying that as much as possible, let the local school district, school board, teachers, administrators, and parents determine the best education for their kids at the local level, with minimal oversight from the state. Much more of a minimalist.
And I agree with you. I work with many federal regulations and see the tremendous additional cost put on businesses and the hidden taxes everybody pays, whether it be through their utility bill or health insurance or whatever else. You got the federal regulation.
You know, I'll never forget a name that I'll leave it nameless, but a great entrepreneur, industrialist in this area who became, over the course of time, the #1 manufacturer of kitchen cabinets. Let me just say it. You can guess who that might be. Factory-built, custom-built kitchen cabinets. I'll never forget him telling me, Tim, when I was in the state legislature, he says, you know, I decided to build a plant in Culpeper, Virginia. He said, I made that decision, one of his most recent plans. He says, because I went through the various states, and I looked at what they had there available, how it would affect our plant and our processes and just in time. And in Virginia, I got to the end of the discussion, and I asked the obligatory question, because you ask this in every state, because they expect you to ask it. And the question is, now what incentives do you have to give me to come here? He says, I'll never forget Virginia's people saying to me, sir, we've offered you, I think, extremely productive business climate. We've offered you great educational opportunities. We've offered you a great workforce here. We've offered you low taxes for both your employees and you as a business. If we offered you anything beyond that, we would have to take away some of those. If you can't make it in Virginia, you can't make it anywhere. And he said to me, he says, I just thought to myself, so